On this big India Today investigation, we're joined by some key players in Haryana politics. I want to welcome Bhupinder Singh Hooda, the former Chief Minister of the state of Haryana. With us also is Yogendra Yadav, leader, founder of Swaraj India. He comes from the belt of Nuh and Mewat, representing the Bharatiya Janata Party, is its spokesperson from the Haryana BJP, Raman Malik. We've got Vikram Singh, former Director General of Police in Uttar Pradesh, well-known police officer. Sriraj Nair is a spokesperson of the Vishva Hindu Parishad. Remember, the VHP and the Bajrang Dal are the ones who took out this yatra. And we've got Randeep Singh Surjewala, senior leader of the Congress, who I want to go across to first on this investigation, which shows that the local administration and the police had been forewarned. There was this yatra passing through communally sensitive areas, that security needed to be beefed up, and yet for some inexplicable reason, the inputs which were available were not acted on. People with weapons, sticks, throwing stones were allowed to take out this yatra, and mayhem broke out in Mewat. As someone who comes from the state, what do you think really went wrong, Mr. Surjewala?
I have been repeatedly saying that the violence in Nuh, Manesar and Gurugram is actually state manufactured. It is failure of political leadership of Chief Minister Mr. Manohar Lal Khattar. Three things stand out. Number one, there was a LIU report, that is intelligence report, saying such an incident is bound to happen. Number two, the infamous goon Monu Manesar was a part thereof. Any sensible government would have either arrested him in anticipation of violence or at least would not have permitted him to participate here. Number three, the superintendent of police of Nuh was on leave. When you knew such a sensitive thing was happening, you had a report that violence will take place. You did not even call the rapid action force, which is situated only 2 kilometers away. That means, in order to gain political mileage, the BJP, JJP government was actually permitting this violence to happen. And Rahulji, may I point out to you, we know that over 100 people died in the Arakshan agitation when the caste war happened in Haryana under the watch of Mr. Manohar Lal Khattar. He turned out to be a political beneficiary of the same in the last assembly election. Now, for the first time in 75 years history of India, a communal flare-up is happening in Haryana, something that is alien to Haryana. We are peace living, we have cohabitated with the Mewat people. There never been any clashes. In fact, in the pre-partition day, Haryana portion was the only portion of India when, despite there being overwhelming Muslim population, there was never a communal clash. So this is a communal clash that is manufactured for political gain. It's a serious allegation I'm leveling.
Amongst the things that come out in this India Today investigation is that the cyber police station was vandalized, which comes across as being odd, that that's the one police station that gets targeted. The government's defense is that because they've been carrying out a lot of action against the local cyber thieves, because Nuh Mewat, as our viewers would recall, is emerging as a Jamtara 2.0, and the India Today network has reported extensively on that. It is because of this that these local groups of thugs were involved. So it's not Hindu, Muslim. The government claims in its defense that this is really the cyber mafia trying to push back, which is why a cyber police station has been attacked. How do you look at this, Mr. Surjewala?
I think it's a lame duck excuse. There was a time when Mewat was a ghetto. The Congress government in Haryana had changed that when we ensured intermixing of population, and that's how you see the Sona Road in Gurugram, an area which was overwhelmingly populated by Muslim, is no longer so. So the intermixing and creation of IMT, Industrial Model Township at Mewat, has actually changed the picture, where a lot of intermixing of populations happened and a lot of progress happened. There can be criminals anywhere around Delhi, because Delhi and its surrounding areas will always be Same thing is happening in Noida, that is not called so. Same things happen in Ghaziabad, they are not called so. And we also have a Jewar International Airport, all around that same things happen. Question is, there is a failure of law and order, and these are lame duck excuses now being said. What Mr. Khattar and Dushyant Chautala are not understanding, that Gurgaon is not a township alone or a big town alone. It's a millennium city and is home to every corporate, international corporate and national corporate in the country. Every corporate's office is here. And that's how the state of Haryana generates most of its revenue. If you are going to have riots on Sohna Road in Gurgaon, vehicles are going to be torched, the whole investment atmosphere is also going to be tarnished, besides the reputation of the state as a peaceful investment destination. So I think what Mr. Khattar has done by his failure of political leadership, as also by closing his eyes to this entire fomenting of communal trouble, is irreparably harmed the reputation of Haryana, which will take years to rebuild.
Let me go across to Raman Malik of the Bharatiya Janata Party to get a counter from him on what we are hearing from the Congress leader. Because how is it that Monu, Manesar and his ilk put out videos announcing this rally? So it's not off the spur, sudden mobilization. This is planned. In our investigation, it emerges from the local CID. They claim they informed the local police and administration 8-10 days ago. The video came out a couple of days ago, and yet your government was so inept that you couldn't stop this. You didn't have adequate deployment on the ground. The rapid action force wasn't deployed. It just presents the state of Haryana and the Khattar government in very sorry light.
Rahul, I'm very sorry to hear what Mr. Surjewala has said. I'm very sure he's now an alien to Haryana. Reason being that he's already migrated to Rajasthan to become an MP. But he's also failed as an MP to secure a position as an MLA twice here. So he does not know the correct situation. The correct situation has to be understood like this, that this so-called Monu Manesar shield that the Congress is taking and the others whom they are trying to protect is taking did not have to be in that one. Number two, the most important, neither was Monu Manesar. If Monu Manesar was the reason, why were women attacked, why were children attacked, why were elderly attacked, why was the police station attacked, why were homes attacked, why were businesses attacked? Was there any reason? No. Then, the second most important point, an MLA of the area is supposed to be one who bridges the gap and creates an atmosphere. The local reports, and you can send your people over to this place and find out what was the kind of role played by Maman Khan or Aftab, whether they were secular in nature to give support or whether they were communal in the manner which has been talked about by the entire population. The third point, sir, Maman Khan in the assembly of Haryana had categorically threatened and not just threatened about
no, but what you're saying, Raman Malik, doesn't sound convincing for the simple reason that this is a law and order situation. Regardless of who takes law and order into their hands, your system should have come down on him. Hindu or Muslim, how does it matter? If he's breaking the law, come down on him.
Please let me finish, Rahulji. And the person he was referring to at that time in a derogatory manner was a Dalit MLA from BJP. Now, let's come to the basic issue. Now, you say that Monu Manesar happens to be the reason why this all happened.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the Vishva Hindu Parishad and the Bajrang Dal planned this yatra. A man accused of being involved in murder was involved in this yatra. They took it out. Your government slept on the job. That's what I'm saying. You didn't do your job properly.
That is what Surjewala ji said. That is what the Muslim communities are saying. That is what. But let's not forget, this is the same party where Kamalnath says this is a Muslim party. Rahul Gandhi says that.
Forget that. This is nothing to do with Hindu Muslim. It's a law and order situation. Your government should have done the job. You should have bashed up whoever was trying to break the law. You should have arrested them, detained them, taken them into preventive custody. Why didn't you do that?
Rahul, let the investigations happen, let the facts come out. Whoever is responsible, the acquisition and the Kudki would happen, the bulldozers would happen, everything would happen, irrespective of
That's not the
what
point,
place
sir.
do you
That's
come
post
from.
facto. In 8 to 10, according to this India Today investigation, according to your local CID official, 8 to 10 days before this mobilization, you knew
So
that such a
means the
yatra was being
attacker was
planned.
planning
This
it.
was passing from a
The
communally
same thing which
sensitive area,
happened in
that this
Delhi,
could
the
potentially
same thing which
turn
happened
communally
now a
strifeful.
week back in
Why
Delhi.
did you not prepare for that? That's my question.
Rahul, Delhi riots just after the COVID thing, and then this last week in the procession of Muharram and other things, the same pattern happens. Why is it always the same pattern that happens? And the same people come to protect it.
Who's protecting it? What conspiracy are you talking about? You are in power. It's your job to enforce the law. Why did you not do that?
We will
Why
enforce
was the
this
rapid
law.
action force not deployed?
We
Why
will
was there
enforce
not
the
enough
law. The
police
CRPF
personnel on
is
the
there.
ground?
Everything is
Why are
under
people
control.
roaming around Haryana with guns? What's your answer to that, sir?
Rahul, you should remember this Mewat area, the so-called claiming by Surjewala ji, he's forgotten that these people, when under Mr. Huda's leadership, when they were running the government, this was a kala pani for officers. It is after Manohar Lal ji who came into power that this area started improving. Otherwise, they used to say, isne Mewat bhej de. That was the dialect.
No, but
We
which
have
is why
improved
you
the
got a
situation,
chance to
not
come
Mr.
to
Surjewala
power.
or
You
Mr.
can't
Huda.
now blame what happened during Huda Saab's time. Let me go across to Bhupender Huda, former Chief Minister of the state of Haryana, the senior most Congress leader on the ground, leader of the opposition. हुडा साहब वेलकम. आपके विचार में मेवात नू गुरुग्राम में जो हुआ उसके लिए आप किसको जिम्मेदार मानते हैं? Where do you think the whole system collapsed? हुडा साहब
देखिए, ये एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव फेलियर है, गवर्नमेंट का फेलियर है, क्योंकि कब ऐसी परिस्थिति होती है, दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण हुआ जो नहीं होना चाहिए था, और जब ऐसी कोई अंदेशा होता है तो सरकार पूरी तैयारी करती है, प्रिवेंटिव मेजर्स लेते हैं. कोई ऐसा कोई कदम नहीं लिया सरकार ने. दुर्घटना घटने के बाद जो है फोर्स भेजी है, सेंट्रल फोर्सेस भी आई हैं और वहाँ किया है. तो ये एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव फेलियर मैं इसको कहूँगा, और लोगों से अपील करूँगा कि वो शांति बनाएं, कानून व्यवस्था को कायम रखने में मदद दें और भाईचारा कायम रखें. यही मैं उनसे कहूँगा.
खट्टर साहब की सरकार ये कहती है कि ये सारा कंस्पिरेसी है, इसमें कांग्रेस के कुछ एमएलएज भी इन्वॉल्व थे जिन्होंने आग में घी डालने का काम किया. उनका मानना है कि क्योंकि उन्होंने साइबर क्राइम के खिलाफ एक ऑफेंसिव एक्शन किया है, इस वजह से साइबर पुलिस स्टेशन को डिस्ट्रॉय किया गया. बेसिकली वो कह रहे हैं कि इसमें कंस्पिरेसी एंगल की जांच हो रही है. इसको आप कैसे देखते हैं?
देखिए, अगर वो ये कह रहे हैं तो उनको प्रिवेंटिव मेजर्स तो लेने चाहिए थे. खाली होमगार्ड के भरोसे छोड़ दिया. वहाँ पुलिस का इतनी पुलिस है हरियाणा को, उनको अगर मान लो मैं कोई जुलूस निकालता था जब भी विपक्ष में था, तो पुलिस साथ चलती है. तो ये कदम उठा सकते हैं, प्रिवेंटिव मेजर्स लेने पड़ते हैं, और ये नहीं लिए गए, ये फेलियर है.
आप अगर सीएम होते तो क्या करना चाहिए था? कहां पे चूक हुई, क्या नहीं किया खट्टर साहब ने आपके विचार में? हुडा साहब
देखिए, जैसा ये बताया इन्होंने, ये अंदेशा था, ये था, तो उसी हिसाब से तैयारी करनी चाहिए थी. जो भी जुलूस निकला या प्रोसेशन निकला, उसको पूरी पुलिस की प्रोटेक्शन होनी चाहिए थी. वहाँ पुलिस का पूरा इंतजाम होना चाहिए था, ताकि कोई आपस में ऐसा कोई ना कर सके जहाँ अंदेशा होता है. ये कदम उठाने की जरूरत थी.
Raman Malik,
जो आप उठाए हैं कदम.
Okay. Thank you very much, Huda Saab, for joining us. This is an important point that the former Chief Minister makes, Raman Malik, that even if you think that this is a conspiracy, that doesn't take away the fact that you only had the home guard deployed, that you didn't deploy the police personnel, the armed police personnel on the ground who could have prevented. It's almost as if you wanted for something like this to happen, because then it becomes Hindu-Muslim, then the questions are not around job losses, economy, industry, inflation. It becomes Hindu-Muslim, everybody is polarized and you benefit electorally from it.
Rahul, first of all, this is a false statement that only home guards were there. There were police personnel, there were the same number of police personnel that were given a year before and the year before and the year before. So that is one part of it. The second part of it is, if you want to talk about conspiracy theories and other things, the journal assessment of people in Mewat who have been affected by this, especially those who are captured in the temple and in their homes and in other places, is very clear that Nuh was designed to become the Godhra, and then for 2024 this entire thing would be played the same way as the witch hunt that happened for 12 years with Mr. Modi. The same kind of witch hunt would keep happening and the nation would win. The progress of India cannot be tolerated by people who have been supported by
Sir, your government is in power. All of what you're saying is hollow because you didn't do your job. You could have prevented if you didn't want violence. Sir, there's only home guard over there. The protesters have guns. They have sticks. They're throwing stones. Your police is not on the ground.
There were armed police personnel.
Let me go across to Anmol Bali. Anmol Bali is our correspondent. This young man was in Nuh at the time this violence was taking place. So those visuals which are playing on my screen right now, the ones that have gone viral all across social media, were shot by Anmol, who yesterday was chased by the mob. He had to take refuge in a police station because there were people outside stopping him. You've seen those clips as well. They're saying, band karo, camera. So Anmol actually did a great job continuing to shoot through all of that. So Anmol, the Haryana BJP leader says there were armed police personnel, that there was enough deployment on the ground. You were on the ground. Did you see adequate deployment of police personnel? How many police personnel were there? Were they at all armed?
Rahul, around 2 when the stone pelting started, I was there on the main medical chowk where the stone pelting started in between the two communities. As the BJP leader has claimed that there was full deployment of police, that was not on the ground. There were only 2 gypsies for around 1,000 to 1,500 people from both the communities. Those who have gone maverick, they were having stones, they were having axes, sticks in their hand, even guns were also seen. 5 to 6 air shots took place, but police was no there. There were only 2 gypsies which I have shown on the live television. Those 2 gypsies have also ran from the spot. There were around 1 dozen of policemen, police constables, but when the stone pelting started, they also ran away from the spot, and around after 3 to 4 hours, the police came, the police deployment and the paramilitary came, then the calm started in this town.
So what was happening in those 2 or 3 hours when these 2 gypsies went away? Raman Malik, please listen to what Anmol is saying. What happened in those 3 or 4 hours when these gypsies ran away from there?
Stone pelting was taking place from the both sides, from one side from the Hindutva groups and from the other side from the local people. And for the 3 hours there was no rule, law and order. The situation was so bad that people, those who were locals, have scared and they moved into their homes. I was in a shop. I took refuge in a shop, and what I saw from the terrace was terrible. The stone pelting was taking place. People were having sticks, axes, rods in their hand. They were beating each other. Even air fire also took place, Rahul.
Raman Malik, respond to this. This is our correspondent. He was on the ground capturing all of this on the camera. You had 2 gypsies for 1,500 protesters when you knew that the situation could get incendiary.
I do not accept that, because with this kind of a movement, even last year, there were over 100 people deployed. Now, where all were they? What was the traffic arrangement? What was those things? How and what was placed has to be looked into. I fully say that with full responsibility. I say that, but at the same time, we must understand when the kind of mob that had accumulated and that came forward to people, these people, the reaction that they did would be investigated later. But the point is that as per what was last year, the same number of police personnel were deployed, Rahul. And that's very honestly I'm saying. But how and what happened is a time when the investigation happened.
Okay,
right
let
now,
me put that question to Vikram Singh, who's been former Director General of Police in a state as big and complex as Uttar Pradesh. Raman Malik says last year we deployed the same number of policemen. This year also we deployed the same number of policemen, and therefore hum jo kar sakte the humne kiya. Do you buy that, or do you think that this is an epic lapse of security, a big mistake in terms of the law and order situation in the manner in which it was handled?
Rahul ji, good evening. I would say that it is an epic flaw on the part of the police arrangements. I am here so to say I did not get any intelligence input. Every police station in the country has what is known as a Tyohar register, festival register, Sampradayak Gunda register, Sampradayak Suchna register, and the police station is equipped to handle all such situations. And the very fact that you had home guards lining up the road, it was not a matter to be relegated to home guards. RAF and commandos and the paramilitary forces should have run. There is advanced intelligence. I'm sitting in Noida. I know fully well that Nuh is extremely sensitive and one of the hot spots, not in Haryana, but in the country, because it is also the hub and epicenter of cybercrime. Also, because of the ban on cow slaughter, there the tension is imminent and the straws were in the wind. What preemptive action has been taken? Mr. Raman Malik is my good friend. My advice would be, before any such agitation, please take pains to make preventive arrests, ensure 151 arrests, recovery of firearms, legal and illegal, confiscation of all explosives, search house to house of the rooftops, and this was perfectly doable. Rahulji, it is not rocket science. We have done this. Even a Chowki in charge intelligence, some inspector could have done it. And so to say, I did not get advanced intelligence. This is totally unacceptable. You are designed and programmed to work independently. And the very fact that you say that I didn't got the intelligence, the fact of the matter is, the basic ground reality is that you are sitting there. The deployment of the paramilitary force, first preventive arrest, rehearsal, peace committees, community outreach, there is so much of homework that is done before any such agitation. And yes, Monu Manesar is a persona non grata.
No, but he hasn't been arrested. I was speaking to somebody who told me he runs around, floats around Manesar just on a common basis after being accused of that horrific case in Rajasthan. Action should have been taken against him. He's roaming around Raman Malik in Manesar.
He should not have been freighted by police officers.
The first, let's say, Rahul, the first report that came in, he was accused. Then in the charge sheet, his name was taken off. Later on, again, there were some alterations done. But the point is that the case is in Rajasthan and the Rajasthan police has to come forward with whatever they want to do.
No, when he issued a video saying, oh, wow, look at how he's speaking in that video, why didn't you take him into preventive custody?
There are a lot of other people talking, Rahul.
Sir, why didn't you take him into preventive custody?
Okay, Rahul, what are you going to say about people when they line up cylinders in the center of the road stating, कि जो आएगा हम फाड़ देंगे, दूसरा CIA आए या कोई भी आपके गांव में आए, आपको कोई जरूरत नहीं है, आप उनके लाते तोड़ दें, हाथ तोड़ दें. This is the kind of statements being given by
Sriraj Nair from the Vishva Hindu Parishad. This is a Vishwa Hindu Parishad Bajrang Dal Yatra. Why in the world would you associate with the likes of Monu Manesar? The man is accused of heinous crimes. Your organization, which commands a strong following, should be disassociating from such criminals rather than glorifying them.
Well, Rahul, first of all, let me tell you the yatra, the Shobha Yatra which took place in Mewat was with full permission, and we are just beating around the bush. The real concern is the Mewat has become a mini Pakistan. It has become a terror breeding ground, and that's what we have seen. And here the Congress spokesperson, Congress leader, Mr. Huda and Randeep ji, they are beating around the bush, and they are not ready to confess that this jihadi elements have been attacking these yatras for years together, and this has become a global pattern. And this is not only happening in India. Stone pelting, rioting, hooliganism is a part of a global Islamic terror network, and that's what is happening in Mewat. Now coming back to Monu Manesar, he is just an accused. And as Mr. Raman Malik rightly said, if there is a strong case again, like Congress has been trapping Hindus, left, right, and center without any kind of proof. So if there is any concrete proof, Rajasthan police should come forward and talk to Haryana police and do the needful. But here, why are we not talking about the Islamic terror elements who have been attacking small kids, women, and elderly persons? What wrong they did? So we are not getting into the core area of concern. It is the appeasement politics by the Congress and so-called secular party is encouraging this kind of terror elements that we have to understand. So the yatra had all the necessary permissions. We also understand and we also believe.
No, why were your yatris roaming around with guns? No, one second, Sriraj Nair, if this is a simple protest, why do those people, as is captured in Bali's story, why do they have automatic weapons with them? Why are they carrying stones with them? Why are they carrying sticks with them? You're not even listening. Sriraj Nair, if this is a simple protest, why do these protesters have guns with them? Why are they opening fire? Why are they throwing stones? It's all captured on my camera. Sriraj Nair, if this is a simple protest, why do your protesters have guns, swords with them? Why are they throwing stones? Why are they brandishing sticks?
See, who is throwing it is not from the VHP side or the Hindus.
Sir, the images are on the screen. They are speaking for themselves. Look at what's playing on the screen.
Who were at the receiving end? Who was throwing? You see the footage.
I'm seeing the footage. I'm talking to you after seeing the footage. All of India is watching the footage.
It is an organized attack. Please, there was nothing from the Hindu side. They were all peaceful.
So what you are saying doesn't square with the images, swords, guns carried by the people who are passing through this yatra. That is what is caught on camera. You can't run away from the reality. Look at what's on the screen right now. I want to go across to Yogendra Yadav.
Let the investigation happen. We are also saying.
Yeah, but will it be an honest investigation? The Vishva Hindu Parishad and the Bajrang Dal are so closely associated with the ruling government. Will there be an honest investigation? The guns, the swords, the sticks, they're all on camera. The images are speaking a million words, all of them together. Only if you are reading the writing on the wall, except if you pretend that you're not reading, then I can't tell you anything because you're not looking at what's happening. Yogendra Yadav, you were on the ground. You belong to this area, you've gone and spoken to people. What have you found out? The India Today investigation seems to suggest that at least 8 to 10 days before this yatra came, the LIU, the CID told the state administration and the police that there would be a build-up, that there may be violence, and yet we find that there was very limited police deployed on the ground. Yogendra Yadav.
Rahul, I don't know about your investigation, but I'm not surprised at all by what you are telling me, because I can add two more things to it. Number one, this yatra, which is only a 3-year-old tradition, the year before last, this very yatra had seen a major communal situation in which a Manesar was broken. Fortunately, things were brought under control. So, police and administration have good reasons to believe that this is a very sensitive issue. Number two, on the 27th of July, there was a peace committee meeting in Nuh where our colleagues had informed, my colleague is standing with me, he had informed the police and administration about the videos, about counter videos, about the fact that this is extremely tense situation and that they should reconsider giving permission. So despite all this, not only was the permission given to carry out the yatra, but people actually carried arms, as India Today footage has also shown. Not just that, there was no sufficient law and order preparation when the pelting started. So I'm not surprised by what you are saying. Either it is a case of criminal negligence, or worse, that someone knew that this would happen and wanted it to happen so that the spark from Mewat can be used to ignite the rest of NCR.
I just spoke to Randeep Surjewala, who seems to suggest that this is being done so that the BJP benefits electorally, that the elections become Hindu versus Muslim. Muslims are only 7% of the population, and therefore he believes that it will be to the advantage of the BJP government, or at least that's the way they're trying to position it. As if you put on your analyst hat for a moment, how does this play out electorally?
Rahul, as a citizen of this place, as a neighbor of Mewat, and as someone who has worked for 22 years in this area, I cannot pretend only to be an analyst. I'm extremely concerned. I'm concerned about the image that Mewat would have. I'm concerned about the image that Haryana would have. I'm concerned that by deliberately stoking communal fire here, someone is trying to create a political career. Someone is trying to use this divide. Haryana government has in the past used the Jat versus non-Jat divide, and there is every apprehension that this particular situation is being used in order to polarize, in order to make sure that the political capital that Haryana BJP lost due to the farmers' agitation can be gained by making it Hindu-Muslim. So I must say, I'm very depressed. I must say, I'm very concerned.
Let's spend a moment on the cow vigilante angle. I find it very disturbing that Monu Manesar puts out these videos urging people to come, that he's a man who's accused of being part of a brutal killing in Rajasthan. He's roaming free. Apparently, he's just floating around. People can see him locally, and yet he isn't acted against, even after he puts out a video where he's saying, come, we'll go. He's very incendiary in the way that he's calling people together and asking them to mobilize.
This really is the question, Rahul. And I am just coming out of a meeting with the Superintendent of Police and the DC, who heard us patiently. And we placed the following demands. First of all, do arrest those who are responsible for stone pelting, but after identification. Number two, the Supreme Court judgment makes it absolutely clear that hate speech of this kind must not be tolerated. And these are not the only two videos, Rahul. This area has seen, you would remember there was a Mahapanchayat in Indri, in this area, where provocative speeches of the worst kinds were given, where people said we will burn police stations and so on. No action has been taken. So yes, hate speech is an issue, and yes, Monu Manesar, who is no leader. I mean, no one, I know Manesar. This is my area. No one knows these people, and the impression that I'm told, that I get from everyone speaking to me, is that these are petty criminals. These are petty criminals who are currently hiding their crime under the name of cow. And these are people who have been, Monu Manesar is accused in murder. He is facing so many trials. And police says he's absconding. My friend from Manesar, who's with me today, he says, no, but I get to see him almost every second day. So here is someone who's absconding and who my friend gets to see every day. Police obviously doesn't get to see him. What kind of law and order are we talking about? This is obnoxious. If this cannot be controlled, all the wonderful things that we get to hear from the Supreme Court come to a naught.
Yogendra Yadav, thank you very much for joining us. I don't want to hold you in a very poor signal zone, and that's also one of the realities of Nuh. It's so close to the NCR, and yet it's so backward in so many ways in terms of being an area infested with criminals. And that's one of the problems that are playing themselves out. I want to go to Randeep Surjewala on the issue of Monu Manesar, the fact that he's charged in Rajasthan. We just heard from the BJP. They're saying Rajasthan police should come, give evidence, act against Monu Manesar. That hasn't happened. The fact also is that he's able to put out these videos, issue threats. There's a claim made by local eyewitnesses that he was there. The police, however, say nahi wo nahi tha, he wasn't there. But he's roaming around with a level of brazenness given the charges against him, which is simply unacceptable.
But let me say with a sense of responsibility and confidence both. Monu Manesar has active protection of BJP, JJP government in Haryana. And Monu Manesar is not the only goon. I can give you separately for a separate debate list of half dozen goons who are absconding but put up their pictures with deadly firearms and weapons and send threats through social media for extorting money. Monu Manesar happens to be part of the same malady. Since he happens to be part of the communal polarization design, we all know what kind of a goon he is. India Today, Aaj Tak have done multiple such stories evidencing as to how he operates, and he operates under the shadow of the state, under the protection of the state. Such goons having active protection of the BJP, JJP government of Haryana is not only detrimental to the law and order, but detrimental to the peaceful, loving citizens of the state and our reputation as a progressive, peaceful state where people from all over the world, why all over the country, come and cohabitate and are welcomed.
Randeep Surjewala, thank you for joining us on an important day and a big story. One final word from Vikram Singh, former DGP Uttar Pradesh. What do you think, sir, needs to be done now? If you were DGP Haryana, what would be your order to your force today?
Rahul ji, FIRs are there, investigation, round up the top 100 criminals there.
No, but
there
we just heard
FIRs,
the VHP say that हमारे बंदों के guns नहीं थी, weapons. We have images, hours of images playing even on our screen right now, which show those people taking out the yatra, roaming around with guns, firing in the air. They're wearing these saffron bands, carrying swords, machetes, and wielding them. And yet he's denying the naked truth that's visible to anyone who's not blind.
Rahul ji, 24 hours. Either we get them by tonight, by tomorrow morning. Each one spotted in the video carries a reward of 2 lakhs on his arrest. Proclaimed offenders. It is not that you administer Chavanprash in a riotous situation. You have to go in for the kill, invoke the provisions of the National Security Act, as also 332 IPC, 302, because 2 home guards have died and other civilians have died. And therefore, the harshest legal punishment, the raid should happen tonight, and all the perpetrators should either be accounted for before 6 a.m. or a reward of 2 lakhs on each one of the perpetrators.
I think you make an important point, and I want that to be the last word. You can't give these vandals Chavanprash. You know, the images are caught on camera. What happened is caught on camera in broad daylight. This is not some kind of riot or violence that happened in the dead of the night or their grainy CCTV images. Each one of their faces, I mean not each one, but many of their faces are caught on camera. If the police was serious, if the state administration is serious, they can act against them. The question is, are they serious? Or these are our boys and therefore let them be. That is the approach. If that's the approach, this case will never get fixed. If they are serious, what needs to be done is obvious as day. You can't be giving Chavanprash to vandals.